Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hello.
All right. While we're waiting for people to roll in, just wanted to say hi and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining this session. So, yeah, for those who are already here, feel free to say hi in the chat. Let us know where you're from, what you're interested in, and let's just wait for a couple minutes. So here we are having Yaamin, our speaker, Zoe, my co-chapter lead in Kuala Lumpur, and Cheryl as the moderator today.
Hello.
Yeah. So yeah. Um, we're still waiting for everyone to roll in. So feel free to drop in and say hi. Hi, Carmen. I actually met Carmen back in San Francisco. ¿Cómo estás? Right.
The funny thing, I work with Carmen, but I haven't met her at all in real life.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
well, in person, Carmen. We met online so many times.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely feel free to visit Malaysia one day. uh, Maybe you guys can organize a work work meetup in Kuala Lumpur. All right. So, yeah. Um, So while we're waiting for a couple more minutes, just like a kind reminder for everyone. So actually, during the end of this session, there will be like a Q&A opportunity. So for anyone that has any specific question, feel free to kind of take this time to reflect and think about what you might want to ask Yamin, because we are actually having like a gift card, like a $50 gift card giveaway for anyone that has the best question. So stay tuned. And yeah, so I guess while we're waiting, Zoe, do you want to kind of uh, introduce what's Friends of Figma Kuala Lumpur and what we have been doing so far?
Yeah,
Just
sure. So, hi everyone, I'm Zoe, and yeah, basically the Friends of Figma Kuala Lumpur group, we are trying to organize events to invite local designers, people that want to inspire the community. So far we organized quite a few events. Sometimes it's workshops, sometimes keynotes. And yeah, super happy to be part of this new format. That's the World Tour. But maybe we'll discuss about it, I think, a bit later in the presentation. Um, so yeah, nice to meet you all, and thank you for joining too. That's great.
yeah. So, all right. Zoe, do you think we should kickstart?
Let's see.
It's 6:05. Or should we just wait for.
Maybe we can wait a bit longer, a few more minutes.
All right. Yeah, in the meantime, if anyone has any specific questions for Friends of Figma Kuala Lumpur, feel free to drop in the message, and we will try our best to answer it. And yeah, so let's see. And also, for folks in Kuala Lumpur, we actually have a in-person event on the 19th of July. So if anyone is available, feel free to check it out. It's about AI playbook on startup. So it will be at UOB Plaza One. So yep. So all right, let's see. I think we can start. Uh, how do you feel, Zoe? It's
Yeah, I think we can start. I see question, and yes, Ella to answer it. There will be a recording available after this session, and actually there will be a recording of all the sessions part of this world tour. So yeah.
All right. Well, so everyone just get comfy. We're about to start. All right. Okay. Let's go to the next slide.
Yeah, so maybe I think we can introduce ourselves before diving into the session. So I'm Zoe, I'm a UX designer and also community advocate of Friends of Figma Kuala Lumpur. And I'm really happy to be here today, and I hope this session will provide a bit of value to you all. So yeah, Wen, if you want to introduce yourself.
So yeah, I go by Wen, and I'm a senior product designer for Kiwi Studio. We do it's like a design consultancy, and we do like mainly mobile apps design, at least for my project. So yeah, I'm super excited to be hosting this Word Tour alongside with Zoe. It's a really great opportunity to see like international people like working together and making this happen. So yeah.
Yeah, also shout out to Cheryl and Andrew that could unfortunately not join. They are also part of Friends of Figma Kuala Lumpur, and they also helped a lot to make this event happen. So feel free to drop messages in also the chat to thank them, because we are definitely not doing this alone.
All right. So, just a little bit of info what World Tour 2025 is actually a 24-hour non-stop virtual celebration of the FOF community in the world. So, because this event it's really built on it's like a volunteer basis, and uh, each FOF chapter they will actually host their own 1 hour session featuring local speakers, local insights, and community led content. So I think the goal for this world tour is to celebrate the diversity of our global community and also making this session accessible for everyone, anyone, and anywhere. So I think, again, I think this is such a really great incentive um, to bring like all the different voices together and prove like what the power of community can do. So yeah, shout out to Pierluigi in Melbourne for kickstarting this. But yeah, so this is basically what uh, initiated it. So yeah.
Yeah, so I think now we can introduce our speaker of the day. Please welcome Yaamin. He's the Global Partnership Manager at Lottiefiles. He's a brilliant motion design leader who empowers people all around the world. And yeah, today Yaamin will be answering a simple yet important question: why motion?
Yeah, and thanks, Zoe, for the introduction. I think a couple of questions in the chat. Oh, wait, this is a plus. All right, cool. Yeah, virtual plus. All good. Hi guys. So my name is Yamin. Just give it. Let me see if I can change the slides. Yep, there we go. So hi guys. First, thanks. Huge thanks to Zoe, Ben, and Friends of Figma KL team, and the Friends of Figma World Tour team for this opportunity to share my love for motion and, of course, what I can for design. Of course, huge shout out to everyone from different chapters who are leading this Friends of Figma World Tour. Gave me a bit of FOMO, but I'm totally excited to actually be here to give this to this today. Well, I mean, I wouldn't call myself a motion design leader. Just want to let you guys know I'm just someone who's deeply passionate about what makes pictures move, and of course, seeing more animations everywhere. The purpose of my talk today, and like Zoe said, is answering a simple question: why motion? But by the end of the talk, what I hope to achieve is to leave you thinking of two things. If you have not incorporated motion in your design, I want you to think about why I can get started today on how I can actually incorporate motion in my design. And if you're already incorporating motion like a pro, I hope that I can give you a new perspective on how you can actually incorporate motion in your design. So let's get started. So, as the team mentioned, my name's Yaamin. I lead global partnerships at Lottiefiles. During the day, I wear a marketer and educator's hat, but sometimes I do design, I animate, and I code as well. I'm extremely super excited to be here. Normally, I always let one of my teammates, like Carmen, to actually come and do the talk. So I'm pretty sure they're so glad that I'm the only one doing this talk today instead of them. And of course, I also want to give them a shout out because I believe I have the best team in the world. So thank you guys for also being for supporting me as well. And of course, like if you want to connect with me and talk about motion after this call, feel free to add me on my LinkedIn. I'm very active there, and I'm always happy to accept anybody who's interested to come and have a chat with me. So if you're not wondering what Lottie Files is, well, we're a motion design company. We power over 14 million designers and developers globally. We're trusted by 280,000 plus companies such as CNN, Duolingo, Wise, Disney, Spotify, and even local companies in KL, in Malaysia, such as Grab, Settle, and Touch and Go. Our mission is very, very simple. We just want to make it easy for anyone to get started with motion. Easy ways to get started, such as multiple ways to create a Lottie animation, which of course is a lightweight JSON-based file format that brings these crisp, scalable animations into digital products. Whether using tools, plugins, or integrations, we want to meet you where you work and help you create animations. And of course, we want to provide a platform for teams and enterprise to collaborate, optimize, and manage their animations in one place, making it easier to scale the animations. And most importantly, we aim to bring designers and developers together. Yes, we want to make you and your designer, I mean, we want to make you and your developer to become BFFs. So we want to help you guys speak the same language when it comes to motion, and of course, implement it with amazing runtimes, toolkits, and of course, make it easy to make it seamless across all platforms. We also work on a file format also called .lottie. If you guys want to check it out, it's called, you can go to .lottie.io and check out how we're doing with this new format called .lottie, which is super amazing. So now you might be wondering why I'm here. Like why am I kind of here? And what makes me qualified to come and give this talk, or why am I interested to give this talk? So as part of our team, we have around 40 million designers, 40 million developers, and we're kind of working with these amazing companies. And honestly, I have one of the coolest jobs, which is I get to meet designers and developers, and I get to talk about motion every single week. We connect through real people, real stories, whether it's events, meetups, or partners. And one of the things that I get to do is I get to talk to them and hear firsthand how motion is shaping their products. Um, and when FOFKL actually approached me, I started thinking like, what could be something and I can actually share from my side. And I thought, let me actually share with you guys today how these amazing, amazing companies are actually defining motion and how leading brands are actually thinking about motion in their design process. So let's get started. So here's a picture, right? So we have three different things. We have what we call words, and of course, photos are known to have like 1,000 words, and an animation which has more than 1,000 words. Now, if you were to choose one from each of these, you're probably gonna choose the animation. Why? Because if you look at it, well, the animation makes it stand out. It actually is speaking much better to you as part of the communication, and of course, it looks crisp. It looks more amazing. People are gonna be more attracted to that design. So for me, um, I always feel like motion is the best thing in the entire world. Who doesn't love motion, right? If you don't like motion, put in the chat as well. Of course, I hope you love it. Motion for me, it's a universal language where everybody understands what you're saying. When you see the duck moving, it makes it easier to communicate exactly what is happening. I can honestly say I can easily plant an idea clearly without much effort just by using motion. And Walt Disney put it better than anyone else, that animation can explain whatever the mind can conceive, reflecting a deep belief in the power of animated movement to express ideas, emotion, and imagination. Motion makes it easy for all of us to understand what's going on. So for me, growing up in the 90s and the 2000s, I was constantly surrounded by different types of motion and inspired by motion. It gives me my love for motion today. Flash, of course, ruled the web for interactive sites back then, animations and web games, and then GIFs and sprite sheets came up. They gave us simple looping visuals that brought screens to life. Of course, CSS came in the 2000s, made like motion lighter. And then, of course, in 2015, Lottie came along and made motion into a whole new different era. And now we're seeing a lot of these tools being developed and motion start to become a novelty. And if you were back then, probably you would understand. Shout out to devs in the room. Implementing motion was actually a very tough thing during the 2000s. If anything was close enough, we'll just approve it and ship it out. If it's close enough, done, ship it out. But today things have changed a lot. We're evolved as designers and teams who envision motion in our products. We now expect pixel perfection, so we aren't happy if a tool does not deliver results that we envision. And what a time today is it to be a designer, because the amount of tools that are being released has grown massively. Every week there's something new, and AI is coming in. Now we have a lot of things that is making it easier for than ever to actually bring motion to ideas to life in products. So what we know now is this shift is very clear. When you look at the world's most loved brands, motion is everywhere. Everyone out there is adopting motion on some level to bring delight to your products, whether it be to enhance user experience by providing visual feedback, crisp interactions, or guidance. We're using motion. We're using it to simplify complex ideas so that instead of using multiple streams to actually explain the entire journey to your user, with just one animation and a few visual cues, we are actually able to guide them and make them understand what's going on. It's also a great way to support visual learning. You don't have to go through a lot of cognitive load for the user now. Or you can even use it for increased user engagement, whether it's small, thoughtful animations, animated screens. You can actually encourage users to actually use your products more, whether it's subtle micro interactions or playful moments of delight. Motion invites interaction, keeps people curious about your products, and makes them actually sticky products, as we say in design. And also, beyond functionality, motion is amazing to build amazing storytelling. It becomes a cornerstone for your brand. It helps you to tell stories, create emotional connections, and of course, stand out. Motion is everywhere now, not just in buttons and transitions, but it's also how brands now express themselves. For us as Lottiefiles, one thing that captured this shift for us that everybody's now attempting to kind of incorporate motion is that on Lottiefiles, every 5 seconds, yes, by the time you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's a new animation being uploaded. And now for us as an ecosystem, we know that people are building with motion ever than before, and more teams are actively adopting motion as part of their product design workflow. Now, while animation creation is growing, as you can see, with every 5 seconds, what we're noticing when we talk to a lot of these global brands is that there is a new trend emerging in motion design workflows. And we're actually kind of seeing this consistently across a lot of brands across the world. Now, the purpose of my talk is actually to show you guys what this big shift actually looks like. And then we actually go through this. So before you guys judge, this CDS design that you see is actually mine from 3 years ago. It was my final year student project where we had to design and create a fully functional mobile app by the end of the semester. So my way of actually doing this was like most people. We had user journeys, user stories. We designed them, we prototyped them, and then start to put it into code and added some animation at the end, like during production. Now, I was thinking about this, and after talking to a lot of companies, I was really thinking about this, and I started reflecting on myself, and I started thinking like, what was the goal of me adding this animation? And the thing that hit me the most is that I just added the animation to make the product stand out from the rest because I want my project to look better than my classmates. Just a small touch of delight, nothing more. And what we are also seeing today is that this approach is still very common. Most teams just map the user flow, design the UI, prototype it, and then decide if motion is worth adding. By then, the core idea is already in production, so motion becomes an afterthought after you're done to figure out how you can actually stand out. More of a reactive approach rather than an intentional one. And let's be real, in many cases, we add motion as a byproduct, and it's not part of the design from the start. But this is where everything is kind of changing. Of course, shout out to Pastor Nick, if you guys want to follow him, amazing designer. The clear shift that we're seeing today is that people are now starting to design with motion in mind from the start. Now, if you want to ask why, standing out doesn't necessarily mean having the best animation or the coolest looking animation on your product. Standing out means now people are designing with a flow, and this is where motion becomes an answer to your entire product. Just imagine this. People are now adapting an approach where when you design, you're already thinking about how motion fits into the experience. When you prototype, here's how you think. When you prototype, people are thinking about how motion helps guide the flow interaction. And even during production, teams are iterating back with motion in mind, refining how it enhances the final product. Motion is connecting all these steps to create amazing user experiences, which is sticky. And this is what the new design trend is actually coming up. And the key shift that when we talk to a lot of these people and for users is that one thing everyone's bringing up is that, well, user expectations are evolving so fast. If people were consuming information fast in 2020, I have bad news for you. People now want to actually consume even faster, and motion helps deliver that clarity. Motion is no longer the Christmas light you throw it on at the end. It's now becoming a core form of communication, and you gotta make sure that the information you pass is easily consumed for so it's they expect in the next set of information, and which motion can actually help to adapt. And since modern tooling and performance improvements, motion at scale is now possible for teams, and teams are easily starting to adopt motion in ways that truly push the boundaries of imagination, which we can't actually imagine. And in short, motion is now your UX. It's not just a layer on top of a UI. It's now becoming the UX. It brings clarity, boosts success rates on critical flows, and most importantly, motion has now become functional instead of it just being that delight. Imagine this. When motion is embedded thoughtfully, you don't need to worry about these three questions that users might even ask. For example, where should I click? What just happened? What do I do next? All these are solved pretty easily. Motion guides the experience instantly, intuitively, and seamlessly. And the best part is, well, it is delivering quantifiable real results. Just to give you guys a few results, these are a few examples from Lottiefiles users. One on the left is Camerify. They actually found that just by using motion, 23% of users are actually sticking more longer on their product just because they're seeing some animation. For ET Money, they actually found that there's better click-through rates because of them adapting motion from static. On CNN Create, using motion led to an average of 2.5 minutes spent per visit across 30,000 unique visitors. And the bottom line is simple. Motion keeps people interested, drives action, makes them stick around. A designer's dream perfectly aligned with your corporate goals as well. So the main question that it comes down to is, how do you integrate motion in your design framework? Well, the answer is, well, I wish I knew. I don't have a secret sauce framework, unfortunately, but I do have a great example, which I really want to share with you guys. Um, Let me show you from a case study that we did quite recently, where Zomato, a leading brand from India, is actually using motion as part of the UX. I'll be honest, I really love the team. I really love how they actually incorporate motion and how this motion is not about visuals. And let me show you guys how they're actually using our ecosystem to bring motion seamlessly as part of the UX. So this is a campaign that they did. It's actually called Look Back 2024, which they did last year. And what they were actually pretty amazing to share with us some of their prototypes as well, so we can actually do a little bit of study. But Zomato started just by clearly identifying and defining the UX goals. So before any design or anything or motion even started, they made sure the team was aligned on what the user experience need to achieve so that they can actually align this with every single step. Every animation that they did was actually intentional, and this was something that we really thought was interesting. They gave every design animation a clear purpose from the start. Each motion element was designed to either guide the user, communicate something important, or simply create moments of delight. And by the time they reached the design phase, motion was already in that conversation, helped shape the visual narratives early, influenced how the product felt from the beginning. Motion was something that they didn't add later. It was already baked into the process. That mindset helped them to use motion to enhance usability, not just appearance. And the result was freaking amazing. Every animation had a job, not just to stand out, but to truly improve the user experience in a very, very meaningful way. So, and then when it came to design, now that already everything's done, Zomato's team used multiple tools to preview the animation. One tool that used was Lottiefiles for Figma, just to bring animation directly into their design files, kind of allowed them to preview animations work in context right alongside the rest of the UI. And designers were now able to test motion in real time, adjust if needed, and be confident about what they were handing over to motion designers. So this actually helped them to reduce gap between design and production and created a smoother, faster workflow because animation was validated inside the design tools themselves. It led to fewer back and forths. And once animations were approved, team moved immediately into implementation. And again, this was pretty amazing as well. Once we went to implementation, it didn't stop there again. Continuous tested performance, iterated early, ensured consistency across platforms before going live, and they used the ecosystem to optimize files, and the result was amazing. A motion workflow which was well aligned with product goals and performance needs, fast, efficient, ready for scale, which also made them to achieve over 18 million impressions, showing the real world impact of motion done right and showing the power of motion as UX for their 2024 look back campaign, which I thought was pretty amazing, which I thought I'll share with you guys. Now, coming back to the motion as UX, well, let's think about how we can actually do this by ourselves. Let's say for our own projects. Well, at Lottiefiles, we always tell them to think of four things. Um, there's not like one size fit the blueprint, unfortunately, like I said, but I can give you a simple starting point. If you want to include motion in your projects, these are things that we encourage teams to think about way before you start thinking about adding motion as a final thing. It's not about perfection. It's about building motion intentionally from the start. And if you think of these four things, you can actually start thinking about how you can make motion as UX as well. Let's start. So the first thing is, of course, the creation tool. When you think about motion, of course, you cannot do it without the creation tool. And the first thing is to consider is the tool itself. Now, I don't want to play favoritism and say Lottiefiles, but I do want to say that as well. But yeah, but think of a tool that is format first, meaning that the exported formats that developers can actually use. If you create something and if it's not usable in any form of format, in code or anything, it's just a pretty file sitting in a folder. So think about the formats that your tool can actually create for you. Next, be tool flexible. There is no one perfect tool. Think about what your team already knows and fits for your workflow the best and how these tools can be integrated easily. It is also a key that your tools work with structure. Things like proper naming, reusable contents, and scalable exports. And this is what makes handoff and collaboration easier, especially across larger teams. And finally, make sure your tools that you animate with purpose. Don't just use your tools to animate something which the team does not need. Make sure it's something which you can do with intent, or not. If you have all this covered, your dev is not going to look at you like this. He's going to be fine. He's going to think, okay, even when I go to production, my designers have thought about every single step before they choose a tool. So the next step is once you start creating motion consistently, of course, you need a system. Like a design system, you need a sort of like a motion system to kind of store, organize, and reuse stuff. And that's where the motion library comes in. A lot of people, when they think about motion library, they just think of a place to store stuff. But when it comes to motion, it could be so much better to make motion as part of the UX. You can create a central platform where everything lives, animations, usage, context, guidelines to ensure everyone stays aligned across design and motion and dev teams. It also should let you categorize, find, reuse animation easily. No need to reinvent the wheel every time. And most importantly, it should support previewing, feedback, and versioning, even testing animation inside design tools or prototypes. That's what makes a motion design library truly useful. So it's not like a Google Drive folder, but it's more of a working system that allows your team to be supported in every single step of the motion workflow and allows everyone to come in and actually contribute. And of course, once you start incorporating motion while you design, don't wait for the later stages. Start incorporating things. Start looking at when you start taking the files in your motion library, start designing. Think of all these steps. Start with the basics. Define when and why you use motion. Clear principles help people keep everything consistent across the board. Think about how motion communicates state changes like loading, success, or error. So it gives a sense of feedback, even might save you from adding an extra UI. So if you start thinking about these things, less screens, of course, less work and better results. Um, Treat motion like any other design system component, just like color or spacing. Think about all these things, define them, reuse them, reuse consistent patterns for things like transition loaders and hover effects. And finally, preview early, use plugins and tools to test animation inside your design workflow, and always keep accessibility in mind. Motion should support, not distract. And of course, last thing is define how you're going to work with your dev. So one thing that we always see that designers do, they always keep a file, but they never define the handoff. So it's very important to kind of have a system where it aligns formats, specs, optimization, how you package the file. So don't leave those for guesswork. Your devs are gonna love you the moment you start documenting everything, annotating instructions, expected timing, looping triggers and states, and always having also a fallback strategy in case something does not actually work. So having this as a designer, thinking about all this at the implementation stage would also help to keep motion as a UX. And of course, last step, keep testing, keep iterating, and you start building amazing, amazing things as motion as UX. Now, the key takeaways that I want you to guys have after this is these 6 points. Start including motion thinking in your design briefs. I hope I given information to convince people start having motion thinking in your design briefs. Think about bringing structure to motion with collaborative tools. Think about everything that you can actually use to make motion as part of the UX. And always test motion like UX. Never keep it as something very cool that you want to have at the end. Never make it just about that header, cool image you just want people to come in and look at. Think about the entire journey, entire experience. In clarity, think about how you can use motion for clarity. Think about how you can use motion for delight and performance, and start thinking about every single one of these steps. And of course, always have a purpose. Motion should solve a problem. To actually achieve motion as UX, it should guide attention. Always have context for it. Never do it just because you need to. Um, Always try to make it less overwhelming, because motion can also become overwhelming as well. Don't make it distracting motion. Keep it consistent, keep it measurable in a way that you can actually measure the performance. And I swear, if you have all this, you are probably going to be one of the people who's going to adapt this new age of what we call new design motion workflow and actually make amazing, amazing things possible. So that's it for my presentation. But if you guys want to get started today with animation today, join us on Lottie community. We have free Lottie animation courses. We have free events, and of course, we have our team there. Come join us. Come be part of this conversation, and yeah, just keep moving and have fun. And yeah, open for questions.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Yami, for sharing. So now we're actually gonna open the floor for a Q&A session. So can we go to the next slide? Yep. So I think now the floor is open. So if anyone has any question, feel free to submit it. And can you go to the next slide so that we can show the gift card, the $50 gift card. Yep. So yeah. So for the lucky winner who wins the gift card, Cheryl will actually DM the person that's selected to get all the information. So yeah, so let's keep the question rolling in. Let's see. Um, yeah, for let me check. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to click on the Q&A uh, part on the Lottiefiles Lottiefiles and just submit it, and then we will try to answer your question.
Yeah, so for the gift card, actually, Yaamin will select one of the best questions that we find in the Q&A. So the person that's selected will get this gift card of 50%, $50, sorry, redeemable on the Figma store. So that's quite
Yep,
a nice gift. So yeah, feel free to ask your questions.
yep.
Yeah.
S-
Um, yeah, I think that's a very. I think that this question I gotta answer. Like, what would you recommend for introducing motion in a small team? Um, I'll. So if you're in a small team, first look at the requirements. Like, what are the requirements you currently have? And then start small. Think about like think of all these things, right? I mean, if you are just trying to start with motion, um, think of like what are the UX problems that you can actually solve in small ways, like using it for clarify navigation, provide better user feedback. Once you kind of see motion making the experience better, that's when you probably would start to kind of grow. Um, if it's internally as extra work are not valuable, start small and then start thinking about how you can actually grow that, and then from there, once team like sees motion making the experience better, stops being from nice to have and kind of starts becoming essential, that's when you kind of can grow it and make it a part of the design brief from day one, and you kind of can grow from there. So I hope that actually answers this question. For how do you think we can use motion to move metrics? There are multiple ways probably you can actually do that. Let me actually go back to the. Should I go back to Q&A slide, or should I stay here?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay. uh, so, how do you think we can use motion to move metrics? So many ways. So many ways. One thing would be um, looking at, like, for example, like you have a CDA, you have certain place where you want your um, um, if think of the CDA, think of different ways where you actually want your user to kind of go and interact with. Those could be actually ways you can actually move the metrics that you're looking at. Like, for example, it could be a CDA, it could be a button to actually go to check out. Um, use motion and kind of see what are the changes it's bringing. We can do a bit of A/B testing, use different kind of motion, different kind of feels to it, and then of course you can actually see some amazing results. So that could be one way you can use motion to move metrics. Currently, there are no variables for motion in Figma prototype. Do you have any tip on how to manage motion libraries? If you're starting UU, so one thing that this is a tool that we currently have. It's called Lottiefiles for Figma. If you already have sort of um, like a design system on how you want things to transition, those actually can be converted as part of Lottiefiles for Figma to kind of make a design system inside Figma and use that as a way to kind of have a motion token in a way. I know that there are no variables for motion in Figma itself, but it's something that we are actually working on as part of Lottiefiles. We are actually have a new creation tool coming out pretty soon, which has a way you can add motion tokens inside. Unfortunately, I don't have a demo for that, but hopefully, yeah, it could be something that you guys can look forward to pretty soon in the future. All right. Is it suitable to add motion to medical software, absolutely. Any relevant experience or ideas? A CD. I can't say specifically until I see the product itself. I guess, but we have seen people, like for example, like if you have the booking button, we have seen a couple of medical softwares actually use an animation just because they want people to come and actually inquire about doctors. So they do have a very specific button just for the inquiry button itself. All right. Is it suitable to, okay, in the workflow between designers and developers, is a motion designer a separate role than of a UX? Good question. So this actually depends. So at Lottiefiles, we kind of see three types of teams. We have teams who don't actually have a dedicated motion designer. They have like UI UX designers who have multiple roles, like visual design, brand design, and multiple roles in one UX design team. In that case, what we've seen them is use certain tools in our ecosystem, like Lottiefiles for Figma, because they don't actually have a specific motion designer who knows to how to use a motion design tool. We've seen a motion designer being a separate role inside a UI UX team as well. And then we've seen like larger teams who have a separate UI UX team and then having a separate motion design team. So that kind of depends on how big the team is. Um, yeah, I hope that answers that question. I mean, if it's yeah. All right. Oh, I didn't expect. Okay, I'm a design student, and I want to know how is the current job scenario for a motion designer. Not no better time to actually start. There's so many jobs out there for a lot of cool motion designers. If you're looking for multiple routes for freelancing, there are multiple ways you can actually do this as well. Stuff like Contra, who was actually hiring a lot. There's a lot of people getting hired like, on like job sites like Contra, where there's tons of stuff they can actually do. Even for motion designers, a lot of companies out there are actually hiring motion designers. One company I would actually ask you to follow is Duolingo. They're always asking for, like always looking for cool motion designers who can come into the product. Can motion ever hurt accessibility, and how do you design around that? So one thing that I would actually advise, like Amit could probably look into, is a WCAG guideline. So there are multiple guidelines on how motion. You can probably look at motion from that perspective. You can look at colors is one thing. I know that using a lot of colors would actually probably not work. We even with Lottiefiles, we have an accessibility analyzer just for that purpose. It could hurt, but the best way would be to kind of look at those guidelines and kind of incorporate what the guideline has into your motion itself. So you kind of make it more accessible in terms of motion as well. So okay. Wow, I didn't expect a lot of questions. So, okay, cool. Since creative motion will also take different backlog sprints, when will the best time to include it in our workflow in workspace? At the start. I think I did in my presentation. You always had motion at the start, because there are multiple ways. If you want to design without motion, by all means, you can have it in a very later stage. But I would advise, if you're currently making products for the modern age, have motion in your head even now, because motion itself doesn't actually mean an animation. It can also be the way you transit from one screen to the other, and where it could include things like, which is not even a lot. It could be in a CSS. So start thinking of motion at the start. All right. How can we measure the? Oh, okay. Cool.
All right, I think we have time for one last question, and then you
This
can.
is hard. You guys can pick one question for me. It's kind of hard.
Um,
Okay, I'll take this one. How do you convince stakeholders of the ROI of motion design in product decisions? So, the best way that I've seen a lot of companies actually do is, so they do a lot of A/B testing. I'll be honest, they do a lot of A/B testing. They kind of showcase, like, for example, they do kind of small sprints to kind of see how people react. In some scenarios, what we've actually seen is that, so they'll take a CTA button and they'll add motion, and you kind of do a bit of A/B testing, and then you see how many clicks you can actually get into a checkout button, for example. Um, that if your clicks are increasing, that definitely means there's a better ROI than actually doing this. So one thing would be to kind of test, like, kind of test both and then see how it actually look like. Um, Getting there requires, again, like the Zomato story, you kind of have to go back, iterate, test preview, and then come back to a position where you can actually show ROI. The moment you implement motion, it might not actually work. So it's a bit of about testing something, coming back, testing something, coming back, and coming to that perfect answer. But if you can look at from an ROI perspective, one thing that you can always look into is kind of testing out and then seeing what is the click rate, how people behave, and you can probably get convince them to actually use like motion in your products. I hope that answers the question. Sorry, that was the last question. So
Yeah. All right. So I think this is the difficult part where you have to choose the best question that you answered today and announce the lucky winner.
okay.
No pressure.
Well, I just hope no one hates me for choosing one question, which um actually I would have to give to the accessibility question, because that's something that a lot of us and in our team are kind of looking into as well. Like how can, because we know that the world is kind of going into a very different phase where like even GUIs might change, and
Right.
then there might be different type of GUI. So accessibility question, I always love. I would have to give to Amir for the accessibility question. So
Okay. So it's Amir Daniel, right?
yeah,
Okay, so congratulations, Amir. So you get a $50 gift card from Figma, and Cheryl will reach out to you to get your details on that. So, all right. I guess that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much, Yamin, for sharing. It's super thoughtful. Especially love it when you mentioned that actually motion is part of UX. I think like it's definitely becoming the trend moving forward. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah,
So
Lottiefiles will be there to help you guys out. So do visit lottiefiles.com. Forgetting that there. All right.
All right, so I think that's almost all for our session. Coming up next, we have Beyond UX Elevating Design with Service Designers Toolkit, by Swapnil, which is a former UX strategist of Singapore Airlines. If you want to join, please go to this. You can scan the QR code or go to the URL directly. You will need to register though, and then you can join right away. And I think there is another event, Yamin.
and for the ones that knows Korean, you can join the session about Figma Bus by Chan-woo Kim, founder of Wadding, hosted by FOF Seoul. So it will be about like collaborating with artists using Figma Bus. So 한국어 알아의 친구들이 이 섹션 궁금하면 이 QR 코드 스캔하십시오. 네, 감사합니다. So feel free to scan this QR code to register, and I think it will be really interesting. So yeah, uh,
Yeah,
let's.
we would also love your feedback. So if you can also scan this QR code, share your thoughts, and yeah, help us improve the next FOF Fall Tour. That would be really helpful to make the experience better next year.
All right. So yeah, I just wanted to congrats for all the chapters that actually work hard and come together to make this happen, because it's a lot of like collaborations and logistics and keeping the branding same. So yeah, we're super proud. We're around like 30 friends of Figma group this year that participated this world tour. So maybe we'll have more next year. So yeah, for sure, nothing great is made alone, like what it said here. Thank you so much for everyone's effort, everyone's commitment. So yeah, thanks again, and that's a wrap for our session. So we really hope you enjoyed it, learned something new, and feel more inspired about the power of motion in design. So thank you so much for spending your time with us, and thanks again, Yamin, for having this amazing talk. Yeah.
Yeah, take care, enjoy the rest of the world tour, and see you next year.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.